Notre Dame knocked off Stanford 49-20. We're going to talk about this victory and more with Blue and Gold's Tyler Horka. Please hit the thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the channel for more content. Go to blueandgold.com for more written coverage of this matchup. This video is, of course, posting a little bit later on Sunday. Horka standing at the field. It is 12:07 a.m. right now as we record this Pacific time Sunday morning. But Tyler, your thoughts on that win? Man, it was a pretty boring game to watch on TV, not going to lie. It was like more of the same. What were your thoughts on this win?
Yeah, I actually thought that the score wasn't reflective of just how much of a runaway it was for Notre Dame because it did get a little weird there at the end. Stanford scores a couple of times. I don't think we've become accustomed to that covering Notre Dame. Usually it's Notre Dame's got a chance to really step on an opponent and not let them into the end zone at the end. They do that. Stanford gets in there a couple times, but yeah, 49-20 is still a blowout. So Notre Dame was the better team from the beginning. It was 35-3 at halftime. It was 42-3 pretty quickly there after halftime. This was a dominant performance for Notre Dame. And if you're nitpicking as a college football playoff committee person, and there's not a whole lot to nitpick, honestly, unless you look at those last couple of touchdowns from Stanford at the end.
Yeah, that would certainly be a nitpick. So, I mean, strong performance on both sides of the ball, especially, in the first three quarters for the Fighting Irish. When you look at the running game, it was impressive with Aeneas Williams and, J.D. Price had some good moments. Jeremiyah Love, 14 rushes, 66 yards and a touchdown. He gets hurt. You're reporting out that he comes back in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So can you give us the latest about the injury? Yeah. Your thoughts about him coming back into the game up 42-3, and then maybe how this game impacts him from a Heisman voting perspective, which of course you are a Heisman voter.
I am, but first things first is Jeremiyah Love's health, and he seemed to be as healthy as you could for him to be coming out of this thing, because when you look at the way that he went down in that first quarter, he was on the ground pretty much right behind me here on the field for too long if you're a Notre Dame fan. And the way he walked off, it was very ginger, ends up leaving, going to the locker room, coming back, in and out of the injury tent, all of those things. To come out of it with only bruised ribs, and we talked to him after the game, and that's what he told us was, yeah, x-ray's negative. All the tests, exactly the way you would want them to be. I just have bruised ribs. Now, it doesn't sound very comfortable, but he's got 3 weeks to heal those bruised ribs if Notre Dame's going to make the college football playoff. So from that standpoint, it's a pretty good thing for Jeremiyah Love. From the Heisman Trophy standpoint, Mike, you didn't like this game for Jeremiyah Love. He's under 5 yards per carry. He doesn't get the touches that look, Notre Dame went into this game and he got the ball 8 times for 54 yards and a touchdown on that first drive. If that happened a couple more times, Jeremiyah Love would have had a Heisman Trophy type of night. Instead, he gets hurt and he doesn't do much thereafter. And I think ultimately this did hurt his Heisman Trophy chances. There's no other way to spin that.
Yeah. I mean, it's also helping that I just don't think there's a runaway quarterback. So yeah. I still think there's a chance Love can win.
I do too.
Thing. And he definitely is getting invited, right? So if you had to vote today, Tyler, where are you putting Love?
Gosh, I think I went into the day number 1, but then this happens. Julian Sayin looks pretty good in that win at Michigan. That's a factor in this as well. He's firmly in the top 3. You're right. He's going to New York, and he deserves to go to New York. But I've got to do some homework here to see if I can put him number 1, because I'm just not sure right now. I'm not sold on any of these candidates. To your point, though, it's a tough vote this year.
Yeah. And then just looking around college football, I mean, I don't know how much more you want to spend talking about that game. Again, it was a snoozer from my perspective.
And that wasn't just the kickoff time. That had to do with the way the game went too. It was a snoozer. I agree.
Definitely a lot with the kickoff time. Ohio State beating Michigan. Ohio State gets that monkey off the back. Michigan's now in the rearview mirror. Texas beats A&M on Friday. I still don't think that's going to be enough for them to jump. Of course, Miami wins against Pittsburgh. Is that enough for the committee to change their course on how they view those two programs? I don't think so. The doomsday scenario really just is if Bama beats Georgia, both of those teams are in. And then if BYU beats Texas Tech, both of those teams are in.
Yeah.
Unless there's some other scenario where those two games could go like that, like Notre Dame gets, or I don't know if there's another thing that could take place that would
Yeah,
keep Notre Dame in the field if those two, if BYU and
right.
Bama win. But that's the doomsday scenario, right?
Yes. Yes, that is a doomsday scenario because if you're looking at it from Notre Dame's perspective, you only have one position of leeway that you can give up and still get into the college football playoff because you're number 9 right now. If you're number 10, that's it. That's the floor because you have the group of 5 team and then you have the ACC championship team that's going to be ranked 11 and 12. So 9 looks good. It's a single digit. You're like, oh, yeah, we're in comfortably. Not so fast because if you get jumped by 2 teams, you're out. And to your point, Mike, doomsday scenario, those are the 2 teams that could jump you. It just stinks for Notre Dame because so close to a lot of things happening that would have Notre Dame comfortably in, like as a 6, a 7, and 8 right there. Oregon losing to Iowa would have been awesome. That feels like so long ago, but that would have been what you needed. Oklahoma losing to LSU today, it was right there. Like if Oklahoma goes down, they're not in the college football playoff. So, and to the way that you frame this is the way that Notre Dame is thinking about it, and they're in right now. If you're out. Miami, you're out. I'm sorry. Congratulations. You beat Pitt. You're out. Texas, you were way out. You beat Texas A&M. Congratulations, but you're still out. So, Notre Dame just needs one thing to break its way, whether that's Georgia, who always wins the SEC. Like you're the biggest Bulldogs fans in the world right now, Notre Dame, because if Georgia wins the SEC, you're in, and that happens every year. So
Right.
I'm feeling pretty good if I'm Notre Dame. And like I said at the beginning of this, just one more thing about this game that was played right here.
Sure.
This was enough for Notre Dame to go pretty comfortably into conference championship weekend. Like it's not like they won by 9 or 19. They still won by 29, and I thought it was even more of a runaway than 29 would say.
Yeah. So of course, Bama beat Georgia at Georgia 24-21 earlier in the year, and then Texas Tech. I don't remember where that game was played between Texas Tech
29-7 in Lubbock at home.
in Lubbock. So man, I think that probably Georgia wins and Texas Tech wins, and Notre Dame is probably right there, still in the 8-9 game, probably playing at Oklahoma. Would that be your guess right now, Ty?
Yeah, and I put a tweet out there. I don't know if y'all want to find that, but it got some traction. I don't know if you saw the numbers on that thing, Mike. I was in the back seat of my aunt and uncle's car who were driving me out here. Bless them. They're on their way to pick me up right now, and it's like you said, after midnight here. But anyway, I saw the score. I watched a lot of that game today, and I said, look, I would pick Notre Dame to beat Oklahoma by at least 2 touchdowns in Norman. Knowing what I know about these 2 teams, I don't think you saw today an offense, even with Jeremiyah Love, who got injured in this game. You put in Jadarian Price, what's he do? He goes down and scores. You mentioned Aeneas Williams earlier, Mike. What does he do when he comes in? He always scores. He even got a first half series because of the Love thing tonight. This is Notre Dame's 3rd string running back, and he scored a touchdown in the first half too. I think Notre Dame has way more offensive firepower than Oklahoma, and Oklahoma would have a really tough time keeping up with the Fighting Irish. I really believe that, and that's a good draw. It just stinks that that's probably the 8-9, like you said, and then it's Ohio State. But here's my point on Ohio State as well. You're probably going to have to beat them to win the national championship. So it doesn't matter if it's in the national championship or in the quarterfinal, round 2, whatever you want to call it. You got to beat that team anyway. So I think that Notre Dame, I know that Notre Dame likes its chances against anybody, and I specifically like Notre Dame's chances against Oklahoma. I really do.
I bookmarked that tweet because I knew I was going to have you on a show soon. I was like, I got to ask you about this tweet. Yeah. I was reading through some of the responses, and the guy who posted your predictions of the Miami and A&M game got me laughing.
No.
But hey, it's not often that you pick Notre Dame to lose football games. Like, I mean, any of us, like Notre Dame's has been pretty darn good the past couple of years. All right, folks, that's going to wrap it up for this video. Please hit the thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the channel for more content. Go to blueandgold.com to read so much more. Look, it's the analysis. It's the news. It's just keeping you up to date with what is going on with Notre Dame football, and recruiting signing day is just a few days away. So make sure you lock in at blueandgold.com. Check out our Black Friday / upcoming Cyber Monday deal that we have on the site. You're not going to want to miss it. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time.